Hi, this is Aditi and I wish you all a very happy Valentine's Day. So let's honor the spirit of this romantic holiday by exploring some of the most iconic love stories in the history. So whether you're celebrating the Valentine's Day with your significant other or just spending your day with friends or even embracing self-love, let's just take a moment to revel in the beauty and power of love in all its forms. Let's get into the video. The stories of lovers who believed in each other and their love, even if the whole world was against them, still inspire us and often make us sad also. A closer investigation of the greatest love stories in the history revealed that most famous lovers met with a tragic ending. They did, however, show us that true love was stronger than anything else in the world, and it is a love they had we are all hoping to find someday. But of course, with a happy ending. Let's see the story of Antony and Cleopatra. Antony and Cleopatra is a tragedy by William Shakespeare. The plot is based on Thomas Man's translation of Plutarch's Lives. It follows the life of Cleopatra and Mark Antony from the time of Sicilian revolt. So the story is one of the most memorable and intriguing love story. The relationship of Antony and Cleopatra put the Egypt in the most powerful position. But their relationship outraged the Romans, who were wary of the growing power of Egyptians. So despite all this stress, they got married, and it is said that while fighting a battle against Romans, Antony got the fake news of Cleopatra's death. So shocked, he fell on the spot and died. When Cleopatra learned of Antony's death, she was shocked. She kills herself using the poison of a venomous snake called the asp, but she died calmly and ecstatically, imagining that how she will meet Antony again in the afterlife. So this is a beautiful yet a very tragic love story. The love story of Salim and Anarkali is a story that almost every lover knows. Prince Salim was a spoiled and rude boy, and Akbar sends him off to war to teach him courage and discipline. 14 years later, Salim returns a distinguished soldier to rule the empire in Lahore. Since this was a day of greatest celebration, Akbar decided to hold a dance performance by a beautiful girl named Nadira. Since she has exceptional beauty, she had access to Akbar's court and was later honored with the title called Anarkali by Akbar. So during this dance performance, Salim fell in love with Anarkali, and it was apparent that Anarkali fell in love with him too. Salim informed his father Akbar of his intention to marry Anarkali and make her the empress. He was shocked, because the problem was Anarkali, despite her fame in Lahore, was a dancer and a maid and not of noble blood. So Akbar forbade Salim from seeing Anarkali again. Prince Salim and Akbar had a heated argument, which later became very serious after Akbar ordered the arrest of Anarkali and placed her in one of the dungeons in Lahore. When Salim came to know about this, he declared a war against his own father. But it was too much for the young prince to handle a war, and he was defeated and was sentenced to death. This is when Anarkali intervenes and renounces her love to save her beloved from the jaws of death. She was entombed alive in a brick wall right in front of her lover's eyes. Very tragic, right? Yeah. The next story is the most famous and most popular love stories of all time, written by English poet and playwright William Shakespeare. That's actually the Romeo and Juliet. And it was published somewhere in the 1590s, that was almost at the beginning of the 16th century. It is said that Romeo and Juliet are not original and are completely fictional characters. The story reveals a major influence on ancient tragic love stories. To be particular, the love story of Roman love story of Pyramus and Thisbe, whose families despise each other and prevent the lovers to be together. So just like Pyramus kills himself, falsely believing that Thisbe is dead, Romeo also commits suicide for mistakenly believing that Juliet is dead. Thisbe follows her ever in death upon believing and discovering his dead body, and which is exactly what Juliet does when she finds Romeo dead. Both Thisbe and Juliet stab themselves, but Romeo, unlike Pyramus who stabs himself with sword, he consumes poison. The next is a classic love story titled Laila and Majnu. This was most notably expressed by great poets like Nizami Ganjavi and Muhammad Fuzuli. It was presented in many Middle Eastern and subcontinental cultures. The cultures are namely Muslim, Sufi, Hindu and even secular cultures. Laila and Qais are in love from childhood and are not allowed to unite. So Majnu was not actually Majnu, he was Qais. The word Majnu means possessed because he was perceived to be mad in obsession with his Laila. Laila is married off to another, and Majnu becomes a hermit, devoting himself to writing verses about his profound love for Laila. Although they attempt to meet, they die without ever realizing a relationship. So this is yet another tragic yet very heart-touching love story. Let's see the story of Tristan and Isolde. This is actually a sort of adulterous love story, and it is a legend that was made popular during the 12th century during the French medieval poetry and inspired from archetypal Celtic legends. It has become an influential romance and tragedy and was retold in numerous sources as per many variations. So there are actually several versions of the same story, but more or less they all follow the same outline. So Isolde was the daughter of the king of Ireland and is promised to King Mark of Cornwall. The king sends his nephew Tristan to escort Isolde back to Cornwall. However, from the moment they meet, they both fall in love with each other. Although Princess marries King Mark, she continues her affair with Tristan, which is very wrong. In the end, Mark finds out furthers Isolde but bans Tristan from Cornwall. Soon after, Tristan falls ill and asks for Isolde. He asks her to put white sails on the ship if the answer is yes, and black sails if not. But in the end, Tristan, dying of despair, himself gets convinced that Isolde doesn't want to come to him, while Isolde cries of grief after finding her lover dead. So yet again, another tragic but very powerful love story. Though it is adulterous, it is an adulterous love story, but the feelings they had for each other was actually very real. Yeah. So let's carry the spirit of love with us beyond the special day. Whether it is through grand gestures or through simple acts of kindness, may we continue to cherish and celebrate the power of love. The love that surrounds us in each and every moment. Remember, love knows no boundaries and has a power to inspire, to heal, and to unite us all. Wishing you a day filled with love, joy, and all the beautiful moments that you could treasure forever. Happy Valentine's Day again. Thank you so much.